A fresh call for action against insecurity across Nigeria. The Pan-Yoruba socio-cultural group, Afenifere, has called for urgent national restructuring and creation of state police to combat security threats. At the end of its latest meeting in Akure, Ondo State capital, the group raised alarm over worsening violence in several states, particularly in parts of Kwara, Kogi, Ogun, Ondo and Oyo states, as well as incessant killings in Benue, Plateau, Niger and Katsina State. The group urged the federal government to reform security, adopt modern technology and empower communities for self-defense. Meanwhile, a special court-martial in Maiduguri, Borno State has sentenced 3 soldiers to life imprisonment for arms trafficking, which the court said endangered troops and national security. All right, let's... Paul, looking at this, talking about what Afenifere, why does Afenifere believe that national restructuring and state police are critical in ending insecurity in Nigeria?
But what Afenifere is saying is not new, is what we have been talking about for years. And I'm sure even the president is aware of this. You know, the president himself was talking about state police recently, you know, not too long. There is a need for, you know, you cannot be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. It's actually not realistic. Now, I believe that we should expedite action. The National Assembly should expedite action on the creation of the state police. It is a fact that insecurity, I mean, those states mentioned, you know, Plateau, we are all in this country, we read reports and we see what's going on. And of course, the Southwest has been relatively, you know, better, you know, security-wise than the other regions. But the encroachment on farmlands by herders, you know, is still there. And these are issues that have refused to go away. I think that everything that can be done to make sure that these things are checked. You know, they have already talked about drones, all of that. But I think that the issue of the state police is very critical. The issue of intelligence gathering, you know, taking proactive steps to stop the attacks before they happen. Because many times we are reactive. And then the issue of the security agencies cooperating. We've had situations where an agency will say, look, we provided intelligence and nothing happened. So there must be, of course, we have witnessed better synergy, I must say that, among the security agencies. We see the National Security Advisor is really doing a very good job. Everybody commends him for that. Everybody who has a right mind knows that the man is trying, but we must do better. These things are still there. They are still there, and they are not going to go away so easily. So we have to step up.
So we're still talking about Afenifere because they're saying that the security forces should do more to protect the people. But talk to me, what additional measures do you think Afenifere want the security forces to implement as a matter of urgency to protect the people?
I think Afenifere or the Yoruba leaders are just trying to be proactive, looking at what is happening again in Benue, where the tactical teams were killed, members of the tactical team, and what is also coming up in Kogi. And these are... if you don't show empathy,
Kwara too.
Exactly, Kwara in the North Central. So if you don't show empathy to your neighbors, you can be rest assured that it's very close to you here, with or without showing empathy. So this is just a wake-up call, and it's not different from some of those measures we have also recommended. And that is to say that while waiting for state police to be legislated, let us have more
police?
Let's have more police. Let us have more police stations. Let us have deployment of more team security personnel. Let us have even more military personnel, because this is about life. So before we have state police, must we lose more lives? These are the critical questions people are asking. So in the interim, whatever we can do before we can quickly point and say that, oh, whoever he wants to be a nuisance in our society, in our community, we will easily track it. That's the advantage of state police. But the interim, we need more deployment we need more intelligence, and we need to build trust between the people
and the security
agents. And we'll continue to make this appeal that let us give our security personnel benefit of the doubt that they can be trusted. Share intels with them.
Absolutely.
They also want to stop this killing. The president is really hard on them. The Enchelons are not finding it funny from the voice of Mr. President.
Yeah,
so let us help them by giving them intels and let us nip this in the bud.
I mean, BKO, Afenifere, they're ringing this alarm now. Now, they mentioned some certain states, but I need you to talk to me. What are the factors driving the escalation of violence in these states, Kwara, Kogi, Ogun, Ondo, or your state? And how do they differ from Benue, from Plateau, Niger, and Katsina?
Of course, the nature of terrorism and banditry differs from state to state. In Benue, in Plateau, a lot of what is happening is what I'll call tit-for-tat killings. Herders and farmers have had a frosty relationship for many years. Farmers will sometimes poison herders' cattle. When this happens, they come back to exact revenge, and in the process, lives are lost. Sometimes, cattle rustling takes place. Local criminals in both Benue and Plateau are known to sometimes rustle cattle. And when they rustle cattle, it doesn't sit well with the herders. They engage the militia. They engage militia from as far as Mauritania, bring them into the country to come and kill our people. In the past, some of these fighters had been arrested and they couldn't speak a word of Nigerian language, meaning that they are not, many times they are not even Nigerians that we are talking about here. So over time, people from outside our country have been allowed to come into our country, camp in some areas where, when they are needed, they are easily mobilized to come and exact revenge. That has been happening for years. Remember the case of Kaduna State, where the former governor said he had to bribe them. They had to bribe them to stop killing people. You know, although today he's singing a new tune and he's calling a non-kinetic approach nonsense. But this was what he
did back
also did at that time, because he felt that was the right thing to do. I guess that by hindsight, by benefit of hindsight, you can see that it makes no sense in the final analysis to just be giving them money. That's how he feels now. So in Kwara now, we are seeing bandits come into Kwara, especially Kwara South, to kidnap the people along the highway, along the boundary with Kogi State. Things are so bad in Kwara North now, to the point that even the NYC, the permanent NYC camp, has now been moved to Kwara State Polytechnic, because they do not feel that area is safe enough for core members to have their orientation coming. So things are getting bad in some of the states close to Yorubaland. Yorubaland, or the Southwest, is the safest part of our country.
Yes.
Yes, it's the safest part of our country. The level of banditry that we see in Kaduna, Katsina, Sokoto, nobody sees that in Lagos. Kidnapping of the scale that we read about in the north does not happen anywhere in southern Nigeria. But if southern leaders and the governors do not sit down and find a strategy to keep those people at bay, we are going to be shocked because they are coming in now. The kind of concern that we now have about some parts of Kwara State, we didn't have it before now. The kind of concern that we now have about some the Yoruba-speaking part of Kogi State, especially the areas from Egbe, Ejiba, Mopa, all of those communities close to the boundary with Kwara State, Itobua, Egunle, Oile, all of those places. We didn't have those concerns before. It means that the enemy is coming further down. The enemy is coming further down, and I can understand the concern of Afenifere leaders who had their meeting in the home of their leader, Baba Fashoranti. If care is not taken, the Southwest could eventually be overrun. So that is the thing. They said eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Yes. People who cherish their freedom must remain vigilant and ensure that they do not lose that freedom.
Exactly.
So that is their message, you know. And the other part of the topic has to do with
the conviction,
the military. Yes. See, this thing has been happening for years. Soldiers collaborating with terrorists, soldiers selling weapons to terrorists. It's not a new thing. The former chief of defense staff, Irabo, complained bitterly about it, that increasingly soldiers were being arrested for working with armed robbers. Soldiers were being arrested for working with bandits. They let down their colleagues. They provide information about troops movement. So there's a need for even to have proper profiling of people coming into the armed forces. People shouldn't just come into the armed forces because they can't find any other job to do. No, we have to profile them properly so that you don't bring in criminals to come and wage a war against criminals. It will not work. So we must be vigilant. We must continue to identify these soldiers who are letting down their colleagues, who are providing information, and even information about troops movement that usually lead to ambushes.
Ambush, yes.
So we need to continue. I'm happy that this has happened. This should serve as a deterrent to others. They should rot in jail. But we must continue to unmask these people. You know, people, security agents, will sometimes start hearing voices on a frequency that they felt was known to them alone. That means somebody provided information.
Exactly.
And with the information that they provided, they can track what troops are saying among themselves on their radio. So that means they will know exactly where those troops are headed, and they will know when it's the right time to execute an ambush. So it's a good thing. They've been identified, they've been punished, but we must continue to do that. In the police, in the civil defense, in the army, we have bad eggs, we have black legs who are providing information to the enemies of the state. And such people must continually be fished out. It must be a routine thing.
Exactly.
Because you can't fish them out at once. You must continually fish them out so that they do not constitute a threat to the lives of our servicemen and women.
All right, then.